Across the sands of Libya, a familiar name has echoed once again: Saif al-Islam Gaddafi. The son of Muammar Gaddafi, once hailed as a bridge between Libya and the West, disappeared after his father's brutal fall. For years, the world believed his story was over. But now, the man they called the heir of the revolution has returned. His reappearance has shaken Libya's fragile calm and unsettled the same Western powers that helped destroy his father's rule. Because the ghost they buried more than a decade ago is rising again, not as a memory, but as a man. Libya today stands at a crossroads, divided by militias, drained by corruption, and trapped in foreign influence. Yet as Saif al-Islam steps back into the light, a question echoes across the desert winds. Don't go anywhere. In the next minutes, we uncover how Gaddafi's son rose from hiding to challenge every power that tried to bury his father's legacy. The fall of a man, the collapse of a nation. For 4 decades, Muammar Gaddafi ruled Libya with defiance and pride. He transformed oil wealth into free education, healthcare, and housing. Under his leadership, Libya had one of Africa's highest living standards. But to the West, he was dangerous, a revolutionary who refused control. In 2011, everything changed. Western powers saw an opportunity. When protests erupted during the Arab Spring, NATO seized the moment, backing rebels to bring down Gaddafi. He was hunted, betrayed, and finally killed in the sands of Sirte. When the news reached Washington, the world watched a chilling scene. US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton laughed before the cameras. President Barack Obama hailed it as a victory. He promised a new democratic Libya. Western media followed with glowing headlines about freedom and progress. But those promises would soon turn to ash. The day Libya fell. When Gaddafi fell, Libya fell with him. The institutions that held the nation together disappeared overnight. Ministries dissolved. The national army broke into fragments. In place of order came chaos, dozens of militias claiming power, each with its own flag and its own warlord. The West had promised liberation, but what followed was destruction. A country once rich in oil, gold, and water became a battlefield. Human traffickers and smugglers thrived, turning Libya into a highway of suffering. Migrants were captured and sold in open-air slave markets. Men and women were traded like cattle in a nation that had once been the pride of Africa. Extremist groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda, which would never have dared to exist under Gaddafi, rose from the cracks. They spread terror, feeding off the chaos. And while Libya burned, the same powers that bombed it simply turned away. They watched as blackouts swallowed cities, hospitals ran out of medicine, and students abandoned their classrooms. The dream of democracy had turned into a graveyard of broken promises. A nation haunted by its past. More than a decade later, many Libyans look back on Gaddafi's rule with something the West can't explain: nostalgia. They remember the days when life was stable, when food and fuel were cheap, when the streets were safe, when hospitals worked and education was free. They remember national pride, a Libya that didn't beg for aid or depend on foreign armies. And from that nostalgia, a familiar name returns: Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, the son of the man the world tried to erase, the heir who never fled. During his father's rule, Saif al-Islam was known as the moderate face of Libya. Educated in London, fluent in English, he often served as a bridge between Tripoli and the West. He believed Libya could modernize without losing its independence. But when war came in 2011, Saif refused to flee. He stood by his father and declared to the world, "We fight here in Libya. We die here in Libya." Those words became a vow and a curse. After Gaddafi's death, Saif tried to escape south toward Niger. But near the town of Ubari, his convoy was ambushed by rebels from his own Zintan tribe. They captured him, paraded him as a trophy, and delivered him to a Tripoli court by video link. The International Criminal Court accused him of crimes against humanity. The son of Gaddafi had become the symbol of everything the new Libya wanted to destroy. Then, silence. Years passed. The world moved on. Libya collapsed deeper into chaos, and Saif's name faded from the headlines. Until 2017, when news broke that Libya's eastern authorities had quietly pardoned and freed him. And just like that, the ghost of Gaddafi was alive again. The sun reappears. In 2021, after nearly a decade of silence, Saif al-Islam resurfaced. Older, calmer, but far from defeated. In a rare interview, he described his years in captivity and his vision for Libya's future. He said Libya didn't need foreign saviors, it needed Libyans to save themselves from corruption and foreign control. He spoke like a man reborn. Then came the shock. Saif al-Islam Gaddafi announced he would run for president. The election was scheduled for December 24, 2021, symbolically chosen as Libya's rebirth. For the first time in 10 years, a Gaddafi was officially back in politics. He said, "Politicians have given you nothing but suffering. It is time to return to the past." His campaign struck deep among ordinary Libyans tired of chaos. They longed for stability, order, and national pride. But those elections never happened. The rival governments in Tripoli and Tobruk failed to agree on electoral laws, keeping the country frozen in division. A country without a government. Libya today is split in two. The Government of National Unity rules from Tripoli in the west, while the House of Representatives operates from Tobruk in the east. Between them lies a no-man's land of militias, tribal leaders, and extremist pockets. Even United Nations efforts have failed to unite them. The result? A population that has lost all faith in its so-called leaders. Electricity barely works, schools close, hospitals decay. The people are angry, desperate, and ready for change. In this vacuum, the name Gaddafi has become powerful again. For some, Saif al-Islam represents revenge. For others, he represents hope, the return of order and dignity. Between Haftar and the West, but Saif's path to power is filled with obstacles. In the east stands General Khalifa Haftar, commander of the Libyan National Army, who believes he alone can stabilize the country. He once dismissed Saif as naive, saying he lacked popular support. Yet even Haftar's own power is limited, and many Libyans distrust his ties to foreign backers. Analysts say Saif still commands loyalty among Gaddafi's old supporters. Tribes, former officials, and military families who once benefited from the old regime. In cities across the western Green Belt, whispers of the return of the green flag are growing louder. But no one truly knows how wide his support runs, because Libya hasn't held national elections in more than 8 years. Nostalgia versus fear. Even some who once opposed Gaddafi's dictatorship now admit that life under him was safer. They say, yes, we had fear, but we also had peace. Today we have freedom, but no life kidnappings, ransom killings, and road ambushes have become normal. A person can leave home in the morning and never return. Oil exports have collapsed, and without foreign currency, the economy is dying. It's in this chaos that nostalgia becomes political. Many now believe that only a strong man, perhaps a Gaddafi, can restore order. And Saif al-Islam knows it. Wanted by the ICC. Yet, beyond Libya's borders, Saif remains a wanted man. The International Criminal Court still accuses him of war crimes committed in 2011. Legally, that should make him ineligible for any office. But Libya's reality is far from legal. There is no unified judiciary, no functioning government, and no power strong enough to enforce an international warrant. For many Libyans, the ICC itself is just another Western weapon. They ask, who judged NATO when its bombs killed our families? Who judged the militias that tortured and executed prisoners? To them, the ICC's silence exposes its bias. And so, despite the indictment, Saif's supporters continue to see him as their rightful leader. A dangerous future. Now Saif al-Islam moves quietly behind the scenes, meeting tribal elders, rebuilding alliances, and positioning himself as the man who can reunite Libya. Some see him as a savior who would complete his father's unfinished mission. Others see a dangerous return to dictatorship. But one thing is certain, his presence has reawakened Libya's ghosts. The West watches closely, uneasy. They know what his return could mean. Because if Gaddafi's son takes back Libya and revives his father's Pan-African vision, Europe's influence in North Africa could vanish overnight. And history has shown that the West never allows its old enemies to rise again. the question that haunts Libya. So, will Saif al-Islam Gaddafi rise to power and rebuild his father's legacy? Or will foreign powers move once again to crush him, just as they crushed the man who dreamed of a united Africa? Libya's story is far from over. It is a nation haunted by its past, divided by its present, and uncertain of its future. But one truth remains: the Gaddafi name still carries power, and for many Libyans, that name represents not fear, but hope. As the desert wind whispers across the ruins of Sirte, one question lingers in every heart. Can the son of Gaddafi bring Libya back from the dead? Or will the West make sure his father's ghost never rises again? Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more powerful African stories you won't see anywhere else.